Okay, I am 1 or 2 hours late, depending on how you look at it, because initially I made a post earlier today saying, hey, I'll go live around 8 or 9 p.m. to talk about the 1 year anniversary of Beyond the Gates. Also said my episode review for the day will be up, but I ain't going to hold you. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I did a live stream when I was walking a mile on my walking pad this afternoon. Then, not long after I got off the walking pad, closed out the live, went to take a shower, I ate a breadstick and one of them very small personal pizzas, just small one. Because I said, you know what, I was gonna, take the leftover steak out, cube steak from last night, and make a sub. But I'm like, you know what, man, I think that little pizza and breadstick was all I needed. Next thing you know, I passed out. It was barely 3:30, and I woke up at 9:45. So I'm like, holy, which, hey, I am cool with. I mean, because, I got my steps in. I was only going to do 20 minutes on the walking pad, but I ended up doing like 35 minutes and a mile because doing the live stream made time fly by so fast. So that might be something I do. Maybe not every day I'm walking, but, something to think about because it makes it a lot easier. But hey, happy 1 year anniversary to Beyond the Gates. And like I said, I was close. I was close to making it a full year of reviews. I think maybe I was 8 episodes off. But either way, I was happy to review the show for as long as I did, despite the lack of ad revenue to justify the reviews. So I'm still tripping off today's episode. The review is going to be up tomorrow. I did, figure that, it's almost 10 o'clock. So I'll just wait. And, well, technically, I'll record it tonight. Since I just woke up, I'm going to be up for a while. So I'm going to record it and probably schedule it for an 8 a.m. release tomorrow morning. Ugh, sorry. But the fact that Deanna is using her mom's escort service, that's rich. That is rich. That is rich. Man. I don't know why notifications on this channel don't go out, man. It's weird. Same with my other channel. Is the walking pad scaled down? Yeah, just imagine a treadmill, but it's not as big. It is very light because I bought it year before last on Black Friday. It was like $100. Supports up to 300 pounds, and it's perfect for like offices or living rooms. I mean, all you gotta do is just pick it up, move around where you want to go. But see, originally there was an exercise bike in my living room that I bought on sale from Amazon, but we barely used it. I told my nephew, I'm like, look, the walking pad, how about this? I'll put that in my room because there's a big space between my bed and then the window. So I'm like, I could put the walking pad here and then walk on it as I'm watching TV or something. And I'm like, because you are in the living room always pacing back and forth when you're on your phone. And I'm like, let me do the walking pad then. Deanna seems complex. It's interesting how she was labeled as what, like a daddy's girl, but now she's leaning into her mother's tendencies. And I wonder if Deanna going down the same path as her mom could low-key make Vanessa rethink her own actions. What storylines would you like to see on Beyond the Gates? I know this is unpopular, but I would like to see Danny and Andre get a divorce because I know I saw some people on Twitter talking about how, I want Danny and Andre to have a menopause baby. And I'm like, no, there is no reason for that. Free the man. Where's my notepad at? Oh, yeah. Earlier, hang on. Oh, yeah, I recorded some Beyond the Gates content this morning. Yeah, Danny not needing to have a baby by Andre. Oh, here's one. So in terms of the cotillion, it's Anastasia's granddaughter Francesca gunning for, like the top debutante, right? So I did a video about what if Jessica was the one who came out on top at the cotillion, because it will be Francesca being, pushed by her grandmother. Anita isn't pushing Samantha to win. It's more like, this is about your debut and what it means to be a debutante. Essentially, like, we know Samantha wasn't born into this, right? So it's really about her coming. The cotillion will happen in May. Okay, cool. It's like, yeah, it's about her like coming into her own, into this level of society and making the best of it, having opportunities and whatnot. Not everybody has. And then for Jessica, she's been the most outspoken one, bashing the event since the get-go. So I think it will be pretty interesting if, let's say, Samantha is gunning for the win because maybe Francesca steps on her toes, so to speak, or says something disrespectful to, about Anita, or maybe Anita gets pushed so far that she wants Samantha to win for her. But then at the end of the day, Jessica, the one who couldn't care less about it, ends up taking the crown. And I think it will be funny, though, because it can go one of two ways. Number one, Jessica blows everyone away by giving like a speech about how at first I didn't appreciate what this was. I thought it was just a bougie event for the an event for the elite, the stuffy, the boring, those who look down on others. But I've come to realize what being a debutante means and what this cotillion does for everyone involved. Or the opposite could be true, because I thought about this. I don't know why I thought about this, but when I was jotting down notes, I was like, 2019 Grammy Awards, when Drake won Best Rap Album for God's Plan, and he got the Grammy, and he's like, what is this? What even is this? What is this? And he basically goes into a whole rant about how Grammys aren't important and stuff like that. And I remember the Academy cut him off and went to commercial break, and I'm like, what? So I thought it would be funny if Jessica won and literally bashed the crown and whatnot, which would be a major slap in the face to people like Anastasia, Francesca, who really wanted to win. And it's like, the person who won doesn't even want it. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I've been thinking that Jessica might win. She's not really interested, so I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty funny. I mean, it's a soap, right? So it's all about twists and turns. So I could definitely see something like that occurring, where the least, like not the ugly duckling, but the tortoise wins the race, which is ironic given the fact that Jessica has the hare's attitude in regards to like just taking a nap on the sidelines, because not because she's got in the bag, but just because she doesn't care. Oh, I agree. Lynette has barely been in the show, and she's ran circles around Haley, because Lynette seems far more calculating. See, the thing about Haley is that they made her too much of like a whiny brat from the get-go. So it was really hard to you know, I wouldn't say root for her, but really be interested in what she's doing, because Lynette is the real deal. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Lynette is the real deal. And the Gail King interview was really good yesterday as well. But as soon as Danny got on that phone with Bill, I'm like, here we go again. I saw the way she was smiling. What's the highs and lows of season 1 of Beyond the Gates? Okay, I got you. Okay. Well, I think, sorry about that. I had to get my phone charger. I think we can all agree that season one got rocky towards the end. And in my opinion, that's where most of the issues came from because, as I said, my reviews were doing all right. I was making $500 a month on this channel because interest in the show was pretty consistent. At like the first month or so, it was really good, but then we had that long slope of a decline. But when we got to like the build up for the anniversary party where Leslie let it all out, we went back up, but then we kind of went back down again. And I don't think it truly recovered after, things became the Leslie and Eva show where everything just surrounded them. I wouldn't say that Naomi hates Danny. I think that Naomi resents her mom for being a career woman, but putting all that on hold to be a wife and mom. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I think the highs and lows really range towards lows being Eva and Leslie get away with everything. The entire family, just turned their back on Kat. I know people complained about Ashley. I didn't really do it. There were way worse characters in season one than her. The highs were certainly the anniversary party. You couldn't say none about them first couple weeks of the show. I don't like how they rushed the Bill and Haley wedding. I get it though. You needed to start off a show of this magnitude in terms of being a new soap, predominantly black, this, that, and the third. You needed to start it off at a high. But I really wish the Bill and Haley wedding wasn't in week one. Let us get to know these characters and their dynamics a bit more, and then have the wedding, a few weeks in. But like I said, I get it. You need it to start at a high. But if you start up here, you're destined to really go down. And it's highly unlikely the show will ever reach those heights of the first season at the beginning. Plus, it has went to full soap mode of slow paced. Yep. Speaking of which, their comeback to Laura accident thing in 3. I will too. Yeah, I will be reviewing that episode. I think Kat is really upset because it's been a year and nobody has made any headway into the case, which is funny because one of the tropes, like there was this person that made a list of the various tropes, like Naomi's never had a case we've seen, and Jacob opens a whole bunch of cases as a detective, but he hardly, if ever, closes a case. And I'm like, that is so true. So true. Sad, but true. Sad, but true. Oh, yeah. And the other Beyond the Gates video I did, like, wasn't it mentioned recently something around, like, in terms of Nicole and Ted's marriage, there wasn't like a fire or a passion? And that really threw me off because I forgot if I heard that in the show last week or if I saw several tweets and Facebook posts about it. But it kind of makes sense because I think the theme of the discussion was around, hey, why wasn't Nicole acting like this when she was married to Ted with the different outfits and stuff like that? And the thing is, this is just my opinion because keep in mind, Ted and Nicole, we only really saw the lovey-dovey stuff. But in hindsight, it seemed to me that, yeah, I agree. The Dupree's being weak, it was definitely one of the cons of season one. It almost felt like Nicole could just chill because for the most part, you could say that Nicole was sitting in the driver's seat or the pilot seat, but Ted had their marriage on autopilot. And by that, I mean, he was going above and beyond being the loving father, a loving husband, doting father. And you could argue that the only reason he was doing that was to alleviate his guilt for his affair. Because I think Nicole stated that something happened after I was pregnant with Kat and after I had Kat, like Ted just took it to a next level of his love and everything, being the envy of the community, everybody saying they wishes their husbands could be like theirs. I think Kat even mentioned like when she was younger, and had friends over at the house, her friends loved being there and didn't want to leave, which could indicate that, just the fact that Ted and Nicole had such an aura about their home, such a one that's love and trust and everything, while maybe those other kids didn't have that at their homes. Because, yeah, I mean, let's be real, these rich and snooty folks, there's all sorts of dirty laundry. Like little Timmy's parents could be, fine in public, but they're fighting behind the scenes. And like, so, Sarah's mom could be using Joey's escort service, and her dad is upset about it. So I truly feel like, Ted and Nicole like were the gold standard, but at the end of the day, there was no need for that passion because Ted was always going to bring it. But now it's like Nicole is no longer restricted to being that straight-laced, perfect daughter, wife, or whatever. Now she's doing whatever buck wild. I like how Joey got that man out of town. Yeah, payoff. What June's friend, right? June's friend. And that's the thing. I do like how they're utilizing June, because someone on the streets like her would have, no knowledge that, people like Joey and whatnot would have to look into. Yeah, like I said, I wish I could have done this live stream at like 8 or 9, but I was out. I mean, as a non-soap vet, I can't sit up here and tell you how long Beyond the Gates is going to run. I don't know what really deems success outside of potentially ratings. Don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to lose their jobs and whatnot, because, over the past year, if you follow the cast members, you'll see some of them have made life-changing things like, hey, I got a house, or hey, I got married, or things like that. So, I'm not trying to see nobody lose their job. But like I said, I just wish the show was more of a hit, and that would have really, made it better for me. I think Naomi was finna to tell her mom about the gene, but once she heard Danny talk on the phone, she pulled back. They ruined Naomi. Like, I get it. She was always headstrong and everything, but people talk about Ashley, but I think, Naomi, they did her dirtier. Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody's playing checkers. He's playing chess when it comes to Joey. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah, and like I said, not being a soap vet, you got to look at the fact of how people's attention spans are nowadays. And keep in mind, when it comes to shows like Sisters, for example, for years, oh, Tyler Perry's dragging the story. Well, I mean, the same could be said about the have and the have nots, If Loving You Was Wrong, and a bunch of his other shows. People don't have that attention span anymore. So introducing a new soap in in 2025 was such a gamble, because people just don't have the attention span, and it's hard to accept a show not moving at a lightning fast pace. But to be complete, and this is just my personal opinion here, I think Beyond the Gate should have pulled a have and a have nots. And I think Beyond the Gate should have been a nighttime soap opera instead of an afternoon soap. That's just my opinion, because I think being on at night would have given it, better ratings, because of the fact that everybody who's a fan, for the most part, they would be off of work, they'd be out of school, because, it comes on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And unless you're paying for Paramount Plus, you got to record it. And I mean, this show is 5 days a week, unless there's a holiday or whatever. So that's a lot. But yeah, I think this would have worked far better. It's like a 9 o'clock soap. Because the haves and the have nots was what? Tuesdays at 9? The pacing would be much faster too. I don't know if that's a fact, but I just know, look, I'm telling you, in terms of soap, take the first season of the haves and the have nots. That's a soap. That was a soap. I don't know how it would have done as a daytime soap. I can't tell you. I'm just glad it was a nighttime show. So yeah. Oh, we got almost 20 people. Okay, we're doing good. So if you're just tuning in, happy 1 year anniversary to Beyond the Gates. And we're just here talking about the show. We're talking about the highs, the lows, different avenues of the series. So if you have any thoughts or opinions, please leave a comment and I'll get to it. Yeah. Well, I think one of the better aspects of the haves and have nots is that you took those characters seriously, whether it be the Crier family or the Harrington family, you took them seriously because when they said they're powerful, they meant it. Now, don't get me wrong. Tyler went over the top when it came to Veronica Harrington being able to get out of every little thing, but when it comes to how they handled Candace, I mean, what I liked about the haves and the have-nots is that there were ups and downs. The person on top this season could be down here by the mid-season finale, and then the underdog could be at the top, and then vice versa. Hence the title of the show, the haves and the have-nots. So I really think that Tyler had a better grasp on the balancing act between who holds the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. Beyond the Gates fails in the sense of the Dupree family were built to be the top, well, not just the top dogs, but basically the ones who ran the town. There were like no major rival families or anything. And then Leslie comes out of nowhere and has allegedly been planning this revenge plot for decades, and she unravels everything. And it's became laughable at how pathetic the Duprees became, where it's like, wait, you can't get her kicked out of a club your family started? Wait, she's just waltzing into people's houses that's supposed to have security, and the list goes on. Oh, yeah. 5 days a week is different than one episode per week. I wholeheartedly agree because you got to stretch it out more. I'm going to be honest. Beyond the Gates doing one episode a week, I think would be a game changer. But I get it. It's not built to be that way. However, if they took the haves and the have not formula, we could have had the haves and the have nots 2.0. And that would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. The show is I'm sorry. They're going to stretch the plasma storyline. Yeah, I know. The show is probably setting the Duprees up to be power. Like I said, this show loves to play a long game. Well, that's the problem, though. You started off establishing them as the powerful family, but after losing power for like seemingly 100+ episodes, I don't know if I feel like they deserve to be back on top. See, having the Duprees being this powerful family and whatnot is all well and good, you know? And then you could have taken it to where things like cancer, affairs, divorces, elements like that, or, Chelsea's abduction, things like that could chip away at them. But to have Leslie be like the person who, fired the slingshot and burst the blimp, you see what I'm saying? It just doesn't add up. There you go. Yeah, because people's attention span isn't like that. And see, when you have a show that's 5 days a week and the plot is moving kind of slow, not everybody is going to watch it. Because I used to, I think for like the first 15, 20 episodes, I watched it live and then I had my review up within an hour after the episode. But then when I noticed views going down back on my main channel, when I review the show, I'm like, nah, this ain't working. So I'd catch it on Paramount Plus in the evening. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest faults. Is like you build up the Dupree family, but then you really shake them down, and it doesn't work. At least for me. Leslie and Veronica are sisters at this point. Yeah. See, the thing is, though, Veronica didn't become a quote unquote cartoon villain until the later seasons, whereas Leslie, they just did that way too quick. They just overused her. She was a compelling character, but now it's laughable. But hey, her actress does a phenomenal job. I'll say that much. You can tell she's having a ball with the line deliveries and whatnot, and her different aliases. The power play, you're not wrong, but I think it's the fact that you have someone like Leslie. Honestly, I think Leslie was far more compelling prior to having money, because it's like, oh wow, it's like truly David and Goliath here, where the Duprees are Goliath and Leslie is David, where all she has is a slingshot and faith in God, but a slingshot. She doesn't have the resources and whatnot, but yet she was able to infiltrate the family through her daughter and shame them publicly. I mean, this is the first soap I've seen regularly. I grew up watching soaps every now and then, but not to like the point where I can tell you character names. How's the weather? It is currently 32 degrees. You said you were reviewing Tyler Perry shows because you build an audience with those shows. What would make you stick with Beyond the Gates that way? I started watching you because of Beyond the Gates. Sadly, and not to sound generic, but money. See, the thing is this: Beyond the Gates is 5 episodes a week, right? 5 episodes a week. And you got to look at it from my perspective. Beyond the Gates was sadly not bringing in the ad revenue, because last year I made the lowest I've made on YouTube in like 5 years. And I'm like, whoa. But thankfully my eBay sales were able to, double it up. So I was usually in my wheelhouse for income in 2025. But when I sat back and thought about it, as much as I love this show and I still watch it, I don't review it every day, but I still watch it. I don't watch it every day. It's like some days I might, you know what, Wednesday through Friday, I'll watch it this weekend. I'll binge it on Paramount Plus. It's just that this is my job. This is how I make a living. And the time that I spent, and remember, I reviewed over 220, 230 episodes of this show. Watched the episode, took notes, did my reviews. And the money just isn't there. Now, I know there are other people who do it and their videos get like 1,000. That's not enough. Because if you go over my other channel, some of my recent videos for like the past 2 months, January and February, some of them suckers 50, 70, 80,000 views. And one of those videos alone makes more ad revenue than this channel does in like 2 months. So you got to look at it from my perspective of using my time effectively. So yeah, it's sad. And that's why I said I'm not done with the show. Every now and then you might get a live stream, you might get a discussion video, and you might even get an episode review. But in terms of me reviewing each and every episode, it's not happening, because there are way too many other people in the Beyond the Gates landscape who are doing it and killing it. So it's like YouTube isn't pushing my stuff out because other content creators are doing it better. And heck, honestly, I think people on TikTok and Instagram are getting way bigger numbers than I get here on YouTube. So I think Leslie was a more interesting character about the money because she wasn't a known villain to the whole canvas. Leslie could have been a more compelling villain after she got the money and she was less flamboyant. Basically, she could have been more Veronica Harrington in terms of doing crap behind the scenes. Basically, her coming into the society that she resented for so long, and her plan could be to like one up or dismantle them from the inside now that she's one of them. And then it could have been the internal struggle of, do I still want vengeance, or do I want to become part of this society, because it opens the door. Like, there's far more I can do, because the whole thing is like she's going to blow through her money. She's spending it like it's nobody's business. Yeah, it's just one of those things where Leslie could have been written a bit better in that regard, in terms of being less in your face and more cunning. More cunning. I hope Haley gets caught soon. She's going to fumble, because, like somebody said earlier, Lynette's came in and stole the show. She's showing Haley how it's done. Does the Oval make more money than Beyond the Gates? Yes. I don't know why, but these last batches, the back half of season 6 did pretty dang well. I have no idea why. Your guess is as good as mine. I was blown away. Trying to find my dang chapstick. Oh, here we go. What's your number one moment of Beyond the Gate season 1? Any scene that had Laura in it? No. That time that crap, dropped my phone. Danny was dancing at the end of the episode, and Andre came in and they started making out. It was that episode. It was one of the earlier episodes, the one where there was a Facebook group or Facebook page called Cowboy Danny. You got me like a heart attack. Something. I think the name of the song is called Friend Zone. That's my most replayed scene. And the other scene was after the anniversary fiasco, and Leslie went over to the Dupree house and Martin ripped into her. If you have any good sense, you'll leave and go about the way you came. That's like my favorite acting moment. A lot of soaps were canceled in the 2000s. Daytime soaps are becoming a thing of the past. Beyond the Gates will have to change the way they do the show for this generation. Hard to say how long. I wholeheartedly agree. I will say, though, the fans, regardless of ratings, I think the show does what it needs to do in terms of online traction, because when the fans have a strong opinion about a character or a storyline, you'll hear about it. Yeah, you're right. That's why I was disappointed that it wasn't a hit for me, because I'm like, oh, I'm starting from the beginning and this would be a great way to build an audience and all. But like, the thing is, at least I can say I made it through the full season 1, because if I had quit at episode 30, I'd be mad. Like, yo, man, these channels doing good. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I come back later down the road, it'll be a hit. I don't know. It's just that I couldn't afford the time. And not to mention, I'm trying to be more physically active this year. So sitting in front of my computer for long stretches, I'm trying not to do that as much. So I don't want to be sitting on my behind when I could be, on my walking pad, or when it gets warmer, I can go outside. And yeah, it's just like, I'd rather be burning calories than spending hours in front of a computer and not making a lot of money. Okay, any other comments? I've only watched that movie once. My nephews watched it a number of times. I think it was cool that Tyler Perry made a movie like that for, a younger audience. I'm surprised he hasn't made another movie like that. Because I'm sure at some point one of y'all are going to be like, yo, Jeremy, you got to watch today's episode, or you got to do a review about it. And in that case, yeah. I mean, there's just some stuff. And the thing that made me mad is that, kind of like with assisted living, season 2 is an improvement over season 1, but because the views and whatnot aren't there, I can't justify reviewing every episode. Like, sad to say, this month I opted to, go back into reviewing assisted living just to see if I had an audience, but unfortunately, no. So tomorrow will be the last episode I, watch and review. Oh, yeah. And then over time, you could have had Anastasia and maybe Leslie team up against the Duprees. That would have made more compelling. Hello yourself. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, Beyond the Gates, it has some growing pains, but it seems to have found its footing. Isn't next week the House of Pain season finale? Yeah, but I believe they're probably going to air the first couple episodes of season 15 to air alongside the last couple episodes of Sisters. Anastasia, Leslie's sister. It would be interesting contrast, sister. Danny and Nicole, Leslie and Anastasia. Yeah, Meet the Brown would have been better received. You could have had old cast and everything. Oh, yeah. What's that show? She the People, Miss Governor. That got canceled. Netflix won't do a season 2. I saw that coming. I saw it coming because I'm like, nah, this show isn't it. The first half had promise, but the back half of season 1 just wasn't doing it. It didn't work. Yep. Okay. What else you got? Somebody even suggested, well, Jeremy, since you stopped Beyond the Gates, what if you tried another soap? I don't know, like which one? Young and the Restless or what? I don't know. Yeah, that's true about Miss Governor. Yeah, because I love seeing so many familiar faces from Black entertainment, but it just felt like the show had an identity crisis. Wait, what? I didn't know that. Let me go to Google. Oh, Liz McGuire's dad died. Oh. Oh, you're right. I didn't know that. Yeah. Part 1 was all Tyler Perry, but part 2 had different director and different writers. Yikes. Yeah, that I did not. Thanks for pointing that out. I did not know that. Because I said, like, the part 1, I got some genuine laughs out of it. It had potential, but that second half just boom. Like, did Tyler set that up on purpose? Like, yo, I told you if you let me do my writing, then it's good, but you let other people write. Like, look at Sisters. Yo, man, that sucks. That sucks. That article from Netflix did say he has another show that's a hush hush project. So he has like a number of movies coming out, like, a couple of holiday ones. Why Did I Get Married Again? Doing Life, and then another project that's hush hush. So I don't know what it is. I hope he has another hit because remember, Beauty in Black, it has the back half of season 2. Oh yeah, June is going to be in Beauty in Black. And then season 3 is the final season. Oh, 3.7 out of 10 rating. Yeah, that show. Yikes. I know this is crazy to say, but I want Tyler to take Sisters over again. At this point, I don't know. I don't know. Just unless he has another show that's going to be on the same level of success, I don't. Yeah, Ella needs to work. She really is. She does way too much. She acts like she's all holy and sanctified, and there are so many reasons why, she's the worst. My biggest complaint is how they're trying to rewrite it like Calvin was the one that divorced Miranda when she filed. Yep, you're right. That's what happened. The back half of the show just fell apart for whatever reason. Okay, folks. Well, I'm about to get on out of here. Like I said, I just woke up, so I'm going to be up for a while. I will get the Beyond the Gates review up by tomorrow, because today was the 1 year anniversary. And I do have the discussion videos that will be scheduled to drop before the end of the month. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hit me up whenever you want to do a live stream. It's like, hey, Jeremy, go live and talk about this episode or do a review about this episode. Like you keep me in the know. So I know when it's like not worth my, not a waste of time to do some Beyond the Gate stuff. But yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great night. And yet again, a happy anniversary to Beyond the Gates.